This is the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards. On this episode of the MQP, we step into the world where the beautiful meets the brutal. Our guest is Chelsea Marrow, powerhouse vocalist of Visitant, a blackened death metal band. It was formed in 2022 by Chelsea and guitarist Taylor Tidwell. Visitant's lineup features some of the most talented players in the extreme music scene. Their debut album, Rubidium, is out now. It's on Exodus Stratagem Records. Their latest single and video, Briars, you got to check that out. In that, Visitant delivers a cinematic and ghostly meditation of life, death, and the inevitability of forgetting as well. Beyond the band, Chelsea keeps very busy and has carved out a reputation as a fierce and versatile artist, not only fronting Visitant and Voraath, but also lending her voice to major game soundtracks, too, like Doom Eternal and Hellblade 2. We'll talk about that coming up. But first, Chelsea Marrow, welcome for the first time to the Metal Queens podcast.
So glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. And by the way, Chelsea and Visitant will be playing at the Tennessee Metal Devastation Festival. That is coming up on October 11th. Looking forward to that. And yours truly, Metal Queens podcast. There are a lot of female-fronted bands playing that day. We'll be out there, and we'll have some coverage for you on our Instagram page as well. But looking forward to see Visitant and Chelsea playing out at the Metal Devastation Festival in October. But first, you and Taylor have known each other for, 8 years or more. What made you both decide to form this band, Visitant, back in 2022?
Well, it's interesting because originally it started from an idea that I actually made with Matt Brown from Demon King when I lived in Nashville, Tennessee. Taylor and I have always just kind of collaborated no matter what. And I was like, Matt, we're bringing in Taylor. He's amazing. And then Matt kind of not branched out, but he put his focus more so towards Demon King. And there was he was like, this is more important to me at this moment. So, me and Taylor just kind of took the reins and just skyrocketed from there. And Tony's became a part of it too around the same time. And I was just like, this is the perfect, lineup. This is the perfect match. But Taylor and I have been playing music together for about 10 years now.
Let's talk about the lineup. It pulls from a diverse and technically gifted musicians here. How did the pieces fall into place with Tony and Kilian and Taylor?
Well, I think... Well, it made it easy because Kilian lived with Tony at the time. So Taryn Hernandez was the bass player for Dematerialization, our first single. He had a stagehand job that was huge, and that was taking a lot of his attention as well. So Kilian was just like, hell yeah, I'll lay down some bass for that. He's like, oh my God, you have choruses and catchy parts. I'm so grateful. I guess because typical tech death and stuff is very much a musician's style of music where we can appreciate it as artists and such. But as far as general public or just, people that listen to, other genres of music, I feel like we kind of touch base on all of that as well, So we have multiple demographics that we're reaching out to.
By the way, where Chelsea is right now is her, what she calls her office almost, down in Florida. She is out at a cafe. That's why you're hearing big background noises too, including a baby now.
I know.
Making their presence felt with a good scream. And speaking of screams, that was going to be my next question. So that actually, Chelsea, is a good segue with a baby screaming in the background. How and when did you develop your scream?
I've always been into heavy music since I can remember. I think I've always been kind of hesitant to do vocals. I always had dreams of being a front person, but I started out with guitar. And then there came a point where I injured myself, and my guitarist from a previous band a long time ago was like, Chelsea, you gotta put your guitar down. It's hurting you. You can't do this anymore. And it was heartbreaking, but then I was like, all right. And then as soon as I put that guitar down and just kind of went ham on vocals, the energy of the project changed completely. It became more visceral and feral, and just I was like, this is home. All right, I'm gonna just like put my whole ass into this. You know.
Visitant blends blackened death metal with ethereal textures. Was that the sonic vision from the start with this band, or did it evolve naturally as you wrote together?
I think our collective vision for the band was we wanted to create something bigger than just Black and Death. Like, we wanted to create cinematic feeling. We wanted to create something that kind of went along with my path in the gaming world, you know, and I think that's the direction we're going. We just want to create something that sounds colossal in a live format, intense, fierce, feral, colossal, and just, you know, monumental. It's definitely something that I think we're on the same page in regards to the cinematic effect. We just, I don't know. We want to create an experience for people, not just like, oh, I'm going to a show, listen to music, but I love artists that, you know, touch all the senses, and I kind of want to be kind of like that. I have really different like inspirations, or like where I pull inspirations from, and it's not even metal, but you know, it's a nice mesh with what we're doing, I think. And there's so much more growth that we're embracing for the next album we've already started to write. I pull from artists like Aurora or Hai Lung or even Bjork, but I like having that avant-garde kind of feel in the Black and Death, because there's just so much empowerment and emotion involved in the styles of music as well, you know, and embracing like this dark femininity along with it that I've always had.
I want to talk to you about,
that went on a tangent.
some of your inspirations. You mentioned Bjork. Who are some of the others?
It was I love Aurora. She's just the most free-spirited artist, like along with Bjork. I am Mirker. I love her. If I did a one-person band, it would probably be along the lines of Mirker, where it's just like dark folk, ethereal, and black metal. Those are just like all the things I love piled into one. But it's interesting though. Tony's inspirations pull from soundtracks like Doom Eternal, like Mick Gordon and things like that. So it's definitely going to be a unique collaboration in the future too. He likes machine sounds. But overall, it's just like, it's going to be pretty epic.
Debut album Rubidium is out now. One of the tracks on the album, the latest single, is called Briars. It's both haunting and both visually and sonically. Can you walk us through the story behind the track, and how did the video come together?
Oh my gosh, the video wasn't as close, or we kind of pieced together ideas from an initial idea, the best that we were able to. Let me try to remember. So in the idea of Briars, I envisioned like this group of friends who accidentally like kill one of their friends, and they were at the river, and then they didn't know what to do with the body, so they just jumped in the river, you know. And then initially, like, I had envisioned myself like in the river and a bunch of hands coming up and trying to pull me back, very much like Lady of the Lake vibes. And then, you know, I'm just trying to get back to my house, you know, and getting back to home. And so in my mind, like, I find home. I get inside of this abandoned house. You know, I feel like I made it, and then all of a sudden water bursts through the windows, and the spirits of the lake or river, you know, bring me back to where I came from. But we didn't have the time or ability to create those visions, so we collaborated with this guy who videos and photographs abandoned places all over the world, and just kind of meshed those sceneries with the river. and just kind of created an emotional, very cinematic piece anyway. So with the video, like between the candle sites and then like the river sites and in the woods, it's like, to me, the candle shots are like the spirit realm. That's limbo. That's like, you know, where they're caught, but they still make appearances on Earth trying to get back to home. And the mirrors are the portals between the two realms. So it's kind of like simplifying the initial idea that I had. And then Kilian and Tony couldn't come down to film with us, but we, you know, made it work the best we could. We took like a 360 camera for some of the shots to create like this orb looking, you know, really beautiful collaboration between, you know, a Sony camera and the 360. But it's very DIY. We did it ourselves.
Yeah, was that the video script? Was it shot in Florida?
Yeah. The house shots weren't. I think some of them were based out of Italy, actually. And then the river was in Holt, Florida at Blackwater River.
Yeah, check that video out. It's great. Briars. Now, what themes or ideas connect the songs in this debut album, if any?
It's just like a lot of the things are like stuff I've dreamed about, or like even as a kid, just themes I've obsessed about, you know, like the afterlife, the spirit realm, and then turning personal experiences into ghost stories, and, you know, just treating it almost like a shadow work. You know, it's a big form of expression, because like this year or two have been pretty hellish. So I had to put it somewhere, and I think Taylor's kind of felt the same way. So we wrote the darkest shit we could muster, and it came out pretty good.
Hey, with everyone in the band juggling multiple projects, what does the songwriting process look like for Visitant?
It's actually not as complicated as one would think, given the circumstance of us living in multiple cities. Taylor and I start with riffs. Sometimes I'll just come up with melody ideas in my head, and we try to build from that too. And then we introduce them to the rest of the group. And Tony is our main engineer for, you know, for the project as of right now. And I like to, when we have all the riffs kind of like meshed together, I like to fly up to Massachusetts and collaborate with Tony, and we sit in a room together and just kind of plan it out. And that's how it's been so far.
Outside of metal, I mentioned this in the introduction, Chelsea, your voice has appeared on iconic games like Doom Eternal, Hellblade 2. How does voice acting in gaming work compare to fronting a band on stage?
That's a whole different breed of beast. Although, you know, we make similar sounds, the process of it is very, very different. There's only so much I can talk about when it comes to like the ins and outs, because of contract issues. I don't want to risk anything in regards to that, but it's very like you go in, it's just you, and everybody's looking at you while you record. You know, but it's like people you don't know. So it's fun though. It's kind of similar in the way it's like, you know, you get to be this different entity or creature or something, you know, you kind of get to step outside of your own body with it. I've been making dumb noises since I can remember, since I was a kid. So I was like, this fits perfectly.
You're very comfortable with dumb noises.
Oh my God. Yeah. All the time.
Does Visitant write more with live energy in mind, or do you treat the studio as its own ritual space for experimentation?
I love to experiment, whether we can bring it live. I mean, I think that's what these past tours are like, and these festivals are. It's an experiment to see if we can bring this sound live, and so far we've done a pretty decent job at it. It gives me a lot of hope for the future. But yeah, but initially we're just creating an atmosphere, not even thinking of the live setting. Of course, I have big dreams of, you know, bringing it live in such a thematic way. but I think initially not so much. We were just trying to create a vibe at first and then see what we can do later on as we go.
Well, we're going to see the live experience of Rubidium soon. They've got tour dates coming up in October, including the Tennessee Metal Devastation Fest in Jackson, Tennessee, all day on Saturday, October 11th. And check out their other tour dates as well. All right, Chelsea, I'm going to wrap up with some fun questions here for Chelsea Marrow from Visitant. If Visitant could score a movie or game, what kind of story or setting would be the perfect match?
That's a tough one. I love like psychological thrillers, so anything that's kind of along those lines. What is it? Trying to think of what it's called, and I always forget. It's not Faces of Fear. There's this game that was like this guy has amnesia, and he's a painter, and he's wandering through his house trying to figure out his past, kind of thing, and the actions that you do impact, the outcome of the game. So anything that's kind of like that, I would love to be a part of. Also anything like Diablo or God of War, or that's like my personal choices. I'm sure my bandmates have different ones.
Which album, metal or non-metal, do you always return to for inspiration?
I don't know. I listen to a lot of let's see, like I said, like atmospheric music, kind of like Aurora, but I also listen to a lot of hip hop and Motown. But like I love hip hop for rhythmic ideas and expression, and I love the lyrical content of some of the artists like Sage Francis or Atmosphere, or I even got into this artist called Nick. But yeah, I pull from all over. I also love like dark bluegrass or folk, like King Dude or something like that.
A lot of different genres. All right, I had to come back to the vocal noises with the next question here. What's the weirdest or most unexpected vocal noise you've ever been asked to do, either in metal or in games?
Oh my God. Well, the recent games they weren't that strange. It was more like we did a lot of whispers and stuff through the Doom Eternal, and it was that was harder on my voice than any screaming we did, and it was like an 8-hour session. So not necessarily strange, but very taxing, and you wouldn't really think it. Whispering is really hard on your voice for long periods of time. As far as like auditions go, I've had to make like chicken noises and just random animal noises and stuff like that. It's or like little bug noises. Yeah.
You mentioned whispers. You mentioned whispers. Scream, whisper, or silence. Which has the most power, do you think?
I guess if you're looking at an all over, life circumstance, I think silence speaks louder than any of it. I mean, even in a stage performance, if you're quiet, people are like, what the hell is happening? It gets their attention. Yeah.
So what is next for Visitant beyond the October dates? You planning to tour later in the year or early next year as well?
We may have a couple of festivals in line for next year. There may be some times that we will actually get to venture out of the country, which is exciting. Confirmation on that will come shortly. As far as writing goes, we'll be starting to record the next album in January.
All right. So, but you can enjoy the debut album now. It is out, Rubidium. This is just the beginning of what promises to be a ferocious and atmospheric journey from Chelsea and the band Visitant. Be sure to check out that new single and video, Briars, streaming everywhere now, and follow Visitant for more updates, including updates on what Chelsea was just talking about, tour dates, festivals, and the second album as well. Chelsea Marrow from Visitant, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It was great to be here.
Thank you. We'll see you out at the Tennessee Metal Devastation Fest in Jackson, Tennessee on October 11th. That's a one-day festival. 11 to 11 that day. It's going to be great. Thank you, Chelsea.
You're welcome. See you later.
Thank you. And thanks for watching. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. This is the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards.